I'm going to show you how to set up a GitHub and get GitHub working. So we'll go to GitHub, and you need to create a user account. Just watch this, and I'll walk you through it. Just give you an overview. But you go to GitHub, you get an account, and then you want to create a new repository. So you just click this little plus up here, new repository. And you're going to give your repository a name. And so the name that you give it, anything, something, whatever you want. And you choose create repository. Okay.
Is that what you're referring to when you say repo?
Yep, repo repository. And so then it's going to give you some instructions here. That's nice. So now I'm going to come back to my computer. And somewhere on my computer, like I'll do it just in documents, I'm going to create a new folder, and I'm going to give it the same name, anything something. Okay. Cool. And now inside anything something, I'm going to go there with my command line, my terminal. And so there's a few commands to know about the terminal. CD changes directory, goes back to my root. So right now I'm in my users Todd McLeod. Users Todd McLeod corresponds with that right there, right? And then inside I could look to see what's in there. ls shows me list what's in there. So I've got those folders in there. And so I have a documents folder. Well, documents is where that is. So I'm going to cd change directories into documents. This is how people use computers before they had the graphical user interface. So if you have a pen and a piece of paper, get that out. Let's write these commands down. You have a notebook. Write down cd. And cd is going to take you back to your user directory.
Can't you do this from command prompt too?
So the commands I'm teaching you are Unix POSIX commands, and they work on Unix, Linux, Mac, not Windows. To run them on Windows, you have to emulate a Unix, Linux environment, or get a emulator of some kind. So that's why I just recommend we all work on Mac side. So CD takes you back, change directory, takes you back to your home directory for that user. If you just enter CD, right? Like right now, print working directory, I'm at users Todd McLeod documents. But if I do a CD and then print working directory, I'm now at users Todd McLeod. So CD brings me back to my user home. And then PWD prints working directory, PWD. So write down PWD, and that's like where am I in my directory structure. You got it? PWD. And then ls will list what's in there. ls lists what's in there. So ls is list, show me what's in there. So you should have cd, pwd, ls. And then ls-la is going to list all, and it'll show me all my hidden files. Okay, so ls space -la, list all. You got those? Okay, and just so you have a little bit of information here, this tells me if it's a directory. So that's a directory. This is a directory. Right? This is a file. This is for the user. This is for the group. This is for the world. Those permissions right there. So the user, me, has read, write, execute permissions. The group, staff, has read and execute but not write permissions. And the world has read, execute permissions on this config file. Tells me who the user is, Todd McLeod, the group, staff. The date, I think, is last modified. Oh, this is the size of the file. The data is last modified. And then the name of the file. And the dot means if it's a hidden file. You don't have to know all that, just kind of giving you a little bit of orientation. What's up?
What was that? PWD was print working?
Yeah, we have print working directory. That's the directory I'm in, PWD. We have CD, take me back to my home. Country roads to the place where I belong, Mountain Mama. West Virginia, take me home. And we have ls, which is list, and lsla, which is list all. So right now, print working directory, I'm at users Todd McLeod. And I'm going to ls, see what's in there, and I could, oh, there's documents, cd into documents. So cd space, and then wherever I want to go into, I could move into that. Right? So nothing new there, just ls and then cd and move into this directory, change directories. And then I could do cd and go up a level, space, dot, dot, / takes me back up a level. So I'm dropping down and up through folders. But it's just doing it through the command line. So cd space, dot, dot, / you all got that written down?
No.
Write that one down.
CD what?
cd space, dot, dot, /. Got it? And so that would take me back up a level. Now print working directory. I'm back up there. ls, what's in there? cd back into documents. That's where I want to be. And now I'm going to do an ls to see what's in there. And I have anything something, so I'm going to cd into anything something. Change into that directory. You see I have anything something is one of my things. Open that up. So I can move into that. And then in here, there's not going to be anything. So I don't have anything yet. So this is where I want to connect my GitHub repo to, this folder. I want to connect my GitHub repo to this folder. GitHub is up, website, remote from me. Here's my computer. I want that code both on my computer and on that remote website. So the way I connect it is the first thing I do is git init. And this is in the instructions here that it gave us. First thing you do is git init. And that's going to initialize this folder as a Git repository. Okay? So git init. And I run that. And then if I do an lsla, I see that it's gone from this, it was just a dot, 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 right, 2 directories, to also having this directory, which is a .git. If there's a dot in front of it, since .git, it means it's hidden. So that's just a directory that manages. Git is the version control which manages all the GitHub stuff. Okay, so I've initialized that. I now need to add a folder to it. Right, it wants me to add some sort of a file. That could be any file. So I'm just going to use a little text editor right here at the terminal called Nano. And I'm going to create a file, and I'm just going to call this, first file.txt. Doesn't matter what I call it. So Nano will open up a little editor, and here is a file. This can be thrown away. I just need a first file. And then down here, it says exit. And that little caret means control. That little caret means control. So I do Control X, and it says, do you want to save? And Y means yes. So I hit Y. File name to write, first file.txt, enter. Now if I do an ls-la, I've got Git. I've gone from Git and those 2 dots, 3 dots, to Git, those 2 dots, and then Git, and then first file.txt. That file's in there. I can look at the contents of that file if I want with cat first file, and it shows me the contents of that file. So one command you learned was nano, and then just a file name. And another command you learned was cat, to print out the contents of a file. So now that I have a file in there, I've added a file. I could add that file to my Git. So your workflow in Git is going to be to add things to the staging area, to give it a commit message, and then to push it to GitHub. So I'm going to add something to the staging area. So I'm going to do git add -- all, and it added that file. And I'm going to give it a commit message, git commit -m adds first file. And now, the very first time, I have to do git remote add origin, git at GitHub dot 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 dot. Okay, I need to add all of that, and so I'm just going to copy that in there and paste it, and hit enter, and then I'm going to git push update origin master, and so that just pushed it up there. And if I go look at my GitHub account now, anything something, I have that file here. Okay, so you create that folder, anything something, and now in here I could open that folder with my WebStorm or whatever, and I could say, hey, here's all my stuff to use, and I just keep pushing all my code up there, and then when you're ready to submit your code, you just send me the URL. Now here's the code, this code. And you could even, there's a way with raw Git, which I'll show you, which allows you to make your code live. So I know it could be a little bit overwhelming the first time you see it, but we're learning to speak a new language here, and I just kind of introduced you to the dialect that you use at the ice cream shop. Here are the phrases you use at the ice cream shop. And so you got 10 new vocabulary words. Cool. You got to learn those vocabulary words if you want to deal with the ice cream shop. You got to learn these vocabulary words if you want to deal with Git and GitHub. You want to speak this language, you got to start learning the language. You start learning the words. So you're going to learn how to speak a new language that computers understand. And so that's getting it set up. And then the workflow for you will be to I'll just say one last thing here. As I add files, so let's say I added another file, nano second file.txt. And then here is the second file. And then exit from that, save it, and write it. And now here's your workflow in Git. You're going to do a Git Status. And that'll tell you what's going on. And if you read this, it tells you your branch is up to date with origin master. You have an untracked file. And it's red. Okay, well I want to track that. So git add -- all. That's going to add it. Now if I do a Git Status, it's a new file, second file. It's your branch is up to date with origin. Origin is the origin from which all of your code comes. That's on GitHub. Master is the branch we're working on. You could have different branches, but we'll just stick with master in this class. And changes to be committed is right here. There's a new file. So I added that, and I did Git Status. Now I'm going to do a commit, git commit -m for message, and adds second file. And now if I do a Git Status, it says your branch is ahead of origin master by 1 commit. So I'm going to do a git push, and I'm going to push that up. And so now that's up here now also. Second file. So that's your workflow, and I'll just nano one more file here. And first I'll come over here to this because I want you to keep this, and I'm going to create a second directory here, 002 GitHub, CLI, command line interface in GitHub. Okay, the second file, and then inside here I'm going to create a new file, and the file that I'm going to create is readme.md. And that allows me to do a special type of markdown, right? So I could do some things like pound, and this would be command line interface commands, CLI commands. I'll call it CLI commands. And then here, I will do GitHub Markdown cheat sheet. Headers, emphasis, lists, first, second, third, links, tables, block quotes, inline, horizontal rule, line breaks. I'll just do that, I guess. So the commands that we learned at the command line, cd, and cd takes you back to your user home directory. And then we did pwd, prints working directory, shows you the location of where you're at. And you can see a preview of what that's going to look like over here, right? That markdown formatting. And then we did ls, lists the directories and folders located in your current working directory, wherever you find yourself. And then we did ls-la, lists all of the directories and folders, including hidden files, including hidden folders and files in your current working directory. Also provides additional information, right? Like who the owner was, is it a directory or a file. And then we also did cd, print working directory, ls, ls-la, and we did cd and then into some directory. So when you see those angle brackets, it means input something here. So I did cd documents, right? I moved into documents, moves you into a new directory. And I'm saying directory, you could say folder. And then cd moves you up one level in the directory hierarchy. And then we had Nano and file name opens a text editor. Just going to keep this consistent. Opens a command line interface text editor where you can create a file and save it. And then we also did I think that's it. Do we do any other ones? Cat. Thank you. And then some file name. Prints out the contents of a file. Was there any other ones? Huh? Git init. Okay. So that's going to be here. Git commands. And so the first one is git init. Initializes a directory to be tracked by Git. Okay? So now the software Git, which is in that hidden folder, is now here in this folder, and all folders beneath it will be tracked. Okay? So git init. And then we followed those commands from here, which aren't there anymore. So to get to them, let me just create a new repository and then delete anything something. So to delete a repo, you go to the settings of that repo right there, and you go to delete this repository and type in the repo name, and now that repo's done. It wants me to confirm that I want to do that. And I'm going to create a new repository and just call it temp and create it, and then that'll allow us to see these commands again. So we did git init. I guess maybe he doesn't want to take the class. Confirm you let's keep doing Apple.js. Totally sucks. Now create a file, and after you created a file, and then your normal Git workflow. So I'm right now in anything something. I deleted that repo, so I no longer need this folder. So I'm coming up a level. I can see where I'm at. I can do a PWD. I'm in documents. I can look in there. I've got anything something. I could remove anything something. Gone. And I'm actually going to remove it and anything beneath it. Anything something. So everything is going. So that means recursively with force. So anything something is now gone. It's no longer there. And I'm going to CD into HTML and CSS. And I'm going to do a Git Status and say, hey, you've got that new README file. Git add -- all git commit -m adds README of setting up Git push. And it's going to ask you for your username and password when you do it originally. And now here in GitHub, I can get rid of this temp repo because I just did it to get that code right there. But now if I go to my repos and HTML CSS Bootcamp and into Temp, which is our class, and here we have the CLI, command line interface in GitHub, and we come into that, and now here is everything. Here are your command line interface commands: cd, pwd, ls, lsla, cd, cd up, nano, and we lost those brackets. So I don't know why we lost those brackets, so I need to come back over here and see why we lost those brackets. cd, pw, cd, some directory. So it doesn't like me having those brackets there. So let me just look at that. And Markdown including multiple files. Let me see if we have something in here that it's grabbing. And it's using that as notation. So I just need to find out how do I escape characters Markdown. And how do I escape a backtick in Markdown? Escape angle brackets. Use the character entity references. Less than and greater than. So instead of having this less than sign, I need to put that in. So I could do an edit and find and replace that with this, and replace this with that, place all, and then push this back up. Git add, git commit, git push, and then refresh this. So now we've got those in there. That's what I was looking for. And so there are all of your command line interface commands, and then here are your Git commands, and how to set up a new repo. In GitHub, create a new repo. On your computer, create a folder with the same name. Use CLI, make that folder your current working directory. Run this command, git init. Confirm, do you initialize the repo? At the CLI, run this command, lsla. You should see a .git folder. Now create a file. Oh, and it doesn't like that on the code. It wants it the other way. So Nano. So when I've marked that as code, it likes it that way. Git add, -- all, git commit, adds readme, git push. Some message, and then that. So that's everything you need to do. So to find this code, you're going to say GitHub goes to 11, and then you'll come in here, and you'll go to HTML and CSS Bootcamp. You'll go into Temp, and you'll go into Fall 2017, and then CLI and GitHub, and here are all your commands that you need. So you just saw some really cool stuff. Let's just review it. You saw how to use the command line and some commands for doing that. It's not rocket science, just some new vocabulary, and you just reference them. Oh, what I do, okay. And you saw how to set up a GitHub repo and then create it on your computer and connect them. So code you put there comes back up there. And when you leave at the end of the day, they'll be wiped out, maybe. And then I'll show you how to set them up next week. When you come back in, just bring it back down. Takes a second. And then you also saw how to set up the GitHub repo. And then the normal Git workflow of adding stuff, committing it, and pushing it. How many people feel totally overwhelmed? You got about 20 new vocabulary words.
Those in the repositories.
So I'll stop this video because it's about an hour long already.